This is Unit 4, Lesson 6, Constructions, and our objective for this lesson is students will be able to construct lines and angles. So in order to do this, we are going to be using two different tools. Our first tool is a compass. And you've all probably seen a compass before. It looks like this. So a compass has a pointy edge, and then it has a pencil over here, pencil. And then you're able to adjust the angle at which it's open. So compasses are used to draw circles or to make constructions, which is what we're going to be doing today. One thing about a compass is that this part is very pointy and sharp. A compass is used for math purposes only. Compasses are not to be used as weapons or anything like that. And anyone who is found using a compass inappropriately in class will not be allowed to use a compass at all, which means you won't be able to complete the next few lessons that we work on. So use your compass appropriately. It should be never be pointed at somebody else, or should never be throwing them around the room. If this were to hit someone, it could cause some damage. So we want to use our compass appropriately. The other thing we're going to use is a straight edge. And we don't have straight edges exactly. A straight edge is like a ruler, except it doesn't have any markings on it. We are going to be using rulers because we're just going to be using what we have available. But the point of using a straight edge is that you don't, with a straight edge, you can't take measurements. Okay? A ruler, you could take measurements and say, well, this line is 1 inch, so let's make another line that's 1 inch. Well, with a straight edge, we can't do that. And with constructions, we aren't supposed to take measurements. So you will be using rulers, but I don't want you to actually take measurements with those rulers. Okay, so we're going to be doing constructions with these two tools. And a construction is an exact replicate of something else. So we can do angles, we can do angled bisectors, we can do different shapes. Today we're going to be doing line segments and angles. And we'll be doing copies of original ones. Okay? So you all should have a half sheet of paper. On one side of your half sheet, it should say copying a segment using a compass. On the other side of your half sheet, it says copying a angle using a compass. So let's start out with copying a segment using a compass. So let's go ahead and we are going to copy segment MN. So I'm going to draw the exact same segment, but I'm going to be drawing it over here in a new place. So let's follow those steps that are on that half sheet of paper you have. First, I'm going to, it says to copy segment AB, first make an endpoint on your paper. Label it C. So our line is called MN, not AB, but we'll still call this point C. Step 2 says put the sharp point of your compass on endpoint A. Open the compass until the pencil end touches endpoint B. So I'm going to take my sharp pointy part, remember the part that's not a weapon, and I'm going to put it on M, and then we're going to put the pencil on N. So I want it just wide enough that that my compass is going across MN. Now look at step 3 on your papers. Without changing your compass setting, put the sharp point of your compass on endpoint C. And then it says make a large arc. So notice I haven't changed the size of this angle at all. Now I'm going to make a large arc. I'll try to make it dark so this camera can pick it up well enough. Okay, step 4. Use your straight edge to connect endpoint C to any point on your arc. Now, I don't actually have a ruler, so I'm going to use my driver's license. Really, you don't even have to use a ruler. It just has to be something that has a straight edge. So connect endpoint C to any point on your arc. It doesn't matter where I put this straight edge. It just has to go from endpoint C to any position on here. No matter where we draw it, it's always going to be the same length. Step 5 says label the point of intersection of the arc in your segment D. So this point right here where they came together, I'm going to call it D. Now, maybe when you did your straight edge, you decided to draw it more going down or maybe straight across. So yours might look a little bit different than mine. Maybe that's your segment or your endpoint D. But the point is that the length from C to D, no matter where we draw D, it's always going to be the same as long as we're putting D on this arc. So now I can say that segment MN is congruent to segment CD. Now we're going to move on and we're going to copy an angle using a compass. So turn over your half sheet of paper to the side that says copying an angle, and let's draw angle A. Your angle might not look exactly like my angle, but in the end, the two angles on your paper will look the exact same. So to copy angle A, first make a point to represent the vertex A on your paper. Label the vertex E. So I'm going to do another point over here, and I'm going to call that point, point E. Step number 2 says, from point E, draw a ray of any length. This will be one side of the constructed angle. So it doesn't matter where or how long it is, you are going to draw a ray of any length. The longer you make your ray, the better it will be. The easier it'll make the process, but you don't need to do a ginormous ray that's going to go off your paper. Okay, step 3, put the sharp point of the compass on vertex A. So I'm taking my pointy part, putting it right here on vertex A. Set the compass to any width that will cross both sides of the original angle. So if I set my compass out here, that's going to be too big because it's not crossing either side of the angle. I want to make it a little bit smaller, so it's going to cross both sides. Okay. Now draw an arc across both sides of angle A. So we're going to keep our pointy end on A, and then draw an arc that goes, oops, hope I closed mine a little bit. Draw an arc that goes across both sides. You can kind of see a couple different lines. I didn't do a very good job with my compass. Make sure your compass stays open to the same place the whole time, or else you won't be exact. label, so we're on step 4. Draw an arc across both sides of angle A, which we did. And then it says label where the arc intersects the angle as point B and C. So let's say here's point B and here is point C. Okay, moving on to step 5. Without changing the compass setting, so I still have it at that same size that made this arc. Without changing the compass setting, put the sharp point of the compass on point E. Draw a large arc that intersects the ray. So we're going to put the pointy part on E, and then we're going to draw a really big arc. And that really big arc, you can notice it went through my ray. I'm labeling that intersection point as point F. So we've just completed step 5. Step 6, put the sharp point of the compass on point B of the original angle and set the width of the compass so it touches point C. So I put the sharp point on B, and then I'm going to make it just wide enough so that the pencil is on C. So I'm going just the width of my angle. Step 7 says without changing the compass setting, put the sharp point of the compass on point F. So my sharp point goes over here to F. And make an arc that intersects the arc in step 5. So I'm going to do a little arc. And my arc is intersecting with the other arc we already have. Label the point of intersection as D. Now step 8 on your list of steps says draw a ray from point E to point D. So I'm going to do from E to D. You can use your ruler. I'm using my driver's license, any straight edge. So now we have 2 angles. Angle A is congruent to angle E. Now, some of you might like to make things clean, so you might be tempted to take your eraser and clean up some of these lines, but we don't want to do that. The point of a construction is that we want to be able to see you copied the original angle and created a new one using a straight edge and a compass. I don't want to wonder whether or not you just measured the length, used a protractor to measure the size of the angle. I want to be able to see that you made all the appropriate marks to do a construction. Now on your assignment that you guys will do, you will see that sometimes you're going to make a line that is 2 times the original. So let's say I had this little segment, AB, and I was told to construct 2AB. Well, I'm going to go through that same process that I went through to make my line segment. But I'm going to be doing that process twice. So let's walk through that really quickly. Step 1, first I need to make another point, and we'll call it point C. Step 2, put the sharp point on A, open it until we touch B. Now we've measured the length of our segment. Step 3, put the sharp point on C and make an arc. Step 4, use your straight edge to connect the endpoint C to any point on this arc. And then step 5, call that D. So right now I've done a construction of segment AB. But I was asked to do a construction of 2AB, so twice the size of AB. So I'm going to take this compass. I haven't changed the size of it. If I had changed the side, I could just go back here and measure it out again. I'm going to take my compass and put the end or the sharp point on D, and then once again draw another arc. Now when I use my straight edge, I can't just do from D to any place because we're trying to make a single line. We need to make sure that the straight edge is lined up with the line we already have, and then we're just going to continue that line to point E. So now I can say that my new segment, segment CE, is congruent to 2 times segment AB. And the same process will be followed to create angles that are twice the size of their original. Once you have one angle done, you can construct another one that's right by it. So don't forget to use those steps that you were given on that half sheet of paper and hang on to those steps. Those steps are going to help you a lot until this becomes a process you don't really have to think about.